Hello, fourth grade readers and writers. We're at ELA School, Away from School. And just a reminder, I'm your virtual teacher, Mrs. Ewing. All right, so this is our fourth day with this text. So we're in week 7, sorry about that. We're in week 7, lesson 33. And you've been doing such good work all week, really unpacking this article about Rosa Parks and just what she's done and the difference that she's made. So let's read our guiding questions, because remember, those guiding questions help guide our thinking and growing ideas as we go through these next several weeks. So, and these past weeks too. So what can we learn from the process of ratifying the 19th Amendment? How can stories inspire us to take action to contribute to a better world? How and why can we encourage and support others to contribute to a better world? All right, so you're going to need some materials. You're going to need your text, Civil Rights Activist Rosa Parks. You're going to need that lesson 33 and your lesson 33 quiz. Remember, you can find all that in that ELA packet that you have, and then you're also going to need a sharpened pencil. All right, so I have time. Pause this video, go grab your materials, and I'll be waiting here for you. All right, great. You have your materials. Let's get started. Our learning target today says, I can refer to details and examples in a text when answering questions about what the text says explicitly and when drawing inferences from the text. All right, so remember, I told you that this learning target actually gives you a clue for the type of questions that you're going to be answering. So you have two types, right? One type, you're going to be looking for explicit information. For example, the answer is going to be right there in the text. Then you have some questions that you're going to have to infer. Inferring means I take what do I already know? What does this text say? I mesh it together, think through, and think farther, think deeper to infer what the answer could be. All right, so let's get started with this. With a family member, a caregiver, or a friend, go ahead and reread this text. Civil Rights Activist Rosa Parks. All right, pause this video, enjoy your reading, and I'll be here waiting for you. All right, great. Now that we've reread the text, let's go ahead and do some thinking. Now, I want to remind you of all the work that we've done this week. If you remember on that daily lesson 30, we found the main idea of an article. On daily lesson 31, we found the meaning of unknown words and phrases. And then on daily lesson 32, we thought about the important bits and how they were connected. Before we get started, I also want you to do some thinking about text structure. Now, this is something that you probably have learned this year, but I want to remind you that an author writes a text in a certain structure. Sometimes an article can actually have multiple structures, but usually a section of that article is written in a structure. So let's review the types of text structures. All right, the first one is main idea and details. So the author will state the main idea and then follow with supporting details. Then sometimes the author does problem solution. So they'll state a problem and then they'll give the solution to that problem. Then you have time order or sequence of events or chronological order, in which the author states events in time order, or they might tell you the details of the events in a sequence or a chronological order. Another text structure is question and answer. So the author will actually pose a question and then answer it in the text underneath, right? All right, so I want you to do some thinking about those text structures. All right, so let's get started with our conversation. With your family member, your caregiver, or friend, I want you to talk about the following questions. What is the main idea of this article, and what are the main ideas of the sections you reread? So I encourage you to go back to the note catcher at daily lesson 30, and then some of the other note catchers when we talked about what was the sections mainly about. And go back in the text as you're having this conversation about what is the main idea of the article and what are the main ideas of the sections that we reread and talked about this week. All right, pause the video, go ahead and have that conversation. All right, great. I hope you went back to those note catchers, and I hope you really dug deep to think about that main idea and the sections, the main ideas of those sections reread. You might even have a conversation about how those sections relate back to the main idea of that whole text. All right, our next questions we want to talk about. What were some of the important supporting details? And what important events happened in the text? So what important events happened in the text? All right, pause this video. Talk about that now. All right, great. All right, last question I want you to talk about. What structure did the author use in different parts of the text? If you remember the slide before, we went over the possible text structures. So if you need to, feel free to rewind this video and listen to the types of text structures again. All right, pause this video. Talk about this now. All right, great work. So now you're ready. Go ahead and take out that lesson 33 quiz. Take your time. Dive into the text. Remember, the text is your expert as you're finding those answers. Remember, some you might be able to find the answer right there in the text. Others, you're going to have to use what the text says, what you know, and infer some answers. All right, pause this video. Do your best. Work hard. All right, do your lesson 33 quiz. All right, great job. All right, I want to remind you of our learning target. I can refer to details and examples in a text when answering questions about what the text says explicitly and when drawing inferences from the text. And you guys, you worked towards that today, didn't you? You went into the text and you thought about some answers to the questions, using explicit information, that information right there, and drawing inferences where you had to think a little deeper, right? Using what the text says and what you already know to actually draw some inferences. So great job. I want you to share your quiz with someone. Tell them why you chose the answers you did. You can either be an attorney or a detective and show them the evidence for your answers. After you complete this assignment, remember to read a book with a family member, a caregiver, or a friend for at least 20 minutes. And then that fluency practice. I know you guys are loving this, right? So remember, time yourself. You can use kitchen timer, you can use cell phone timer, you can use the time on the phone, but have someone count to 60. But read the passage for 1 minute, count those words you read, write that number at the top of the page. You should see that number going up each day as we're practicing, we're getting more familiar with the text. All right, super proud of you guys. We have week 8 next week. I think you're really going to enjoy the article we're going to be reading, so I can't wait to see you then.